Alright, hello everyone. I decided to create a video on how to do the assignment method based on the example that mom gave us. So today we're going to be doing a 3 by 3 example. And yeah, without further ado, let's try it out. So the first step is for each and every rows A, B, and C in your table, you basically pick the smallest number in your row, which in this case is 6, and then you subtract that number to all your other values. Okay? So that would be 11 minus 6 would be 5. 14 minus 6 would be 14 minus 6 would be 8. 8. And 6 minus itself would be 0. Okay? Then we basically do the same thing here. So for row B, the smallest number would be 8. So we subtract that to all your other numbers. So 8 minus itself is simply 0. 10 minus 8 is 2. Then 11 minus 8 is 3. Then, now for a row C, the smallest number is 7. So 9 minus 7 is 2. 12 minus 7 is 5. And 7 minus itself is 0. So your resulting table would now look like this. So the first step is to do that by row, right? The second step, and by the way, so ma'am, you might wonder, can we do column first? Yes, you can, but as ma'am suggested, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, row, just start with row because I think row is easier or something. I don't know, but she just said start with row. So anyways, your resulting table would now be this. So what you do? So since for the first step we did row, now for the second step we will do column. Okay? So for each and every column, you get your smallest number, then subtract it to all your other numbers in that column. So since 2 is the smallest number, 5 minus 2 is 3. 0 is the smallest. I keep forgetting. So 5 minus 0 is 5. 0 minus itself is just 0. 2 minus 0 is just 2. Here, moving on to the next column, 2 is the smallest number. 8 minus 2 is 6. 2 minus itself is 0. And 5 minus 2 is 3. Right? Then, since 0 is the smallest number here, then we simply retain the values. Alright? Now, your resulting table would now look like this. So what do we do here now? So after doing the first step, which is the row, okay, then you did the second step, which is the column. What you will do now is we will be drawing lines that would hit zeros. Okay, so the lines could either be horizontal or vertical. So the condition is we need to hit all the zeros using these lines. So, by the way, just for your information, since this table is 3 by 3, we have 3 rows and 3 columns. The minimum number of lines, whether horizontal or vertical, that hit 0 would be 3, such that it would now be the optimal solution or optimal table. So the moment that we have 3 lines, or 3 lines, whether it be a combination of horizontal or vertical, the moment we hit the 3 lines, that would mean that our table is now optimal. So here, let's try. Are we able to hit all the zeros with just one line? No, right? Like that, it doesn't work. So the minimum would be 2. So we create this line and this line. So now that we've hit all the zeros, we now move on to the next step of this table. So in the table, you look for the smallest number that is untouched by the lines. The smallest number untouched by the lines would be 2. So what you would do is subtract using 2, subtract it to all your other values that are also untouched. Okay, so that would be 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. Then 2 minus itself is just 0. And 3 minus 2 is equal to 1. And then after that, instead, so you look for the number that was at the intersection point of your lines. And we can see that here, that number would be 3. So instead of subtracting, you would be adding. So 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. Okay. Then your resulting table would look like this. Okay. So now that we have that here, we now move on to once again drawing lines. So we basically repeat this process until we reach a minimum of 3 lines. Okay, because once again, in order for us to reach the optimum table or solution, we need to at least reach 3 lines. Okay, that's because of our given. We have 3 rows and 3 columns. If, for example, we had 3 rows and 5 columns, it would still be 3. So we choose the smallest amount. Okay, so let's just say, for example, we had 7 rows and 10 columns. The minimum number of lines, horizontal or vertical, would be 7, such that once we've hit 7 lines, our table is now optimal. So we can see here, are we able to create lines that would hit all the zeros with just like 2 lines? So if we try, no, right? Or maybe we can try this. Nope, there's still zeros here. Maybe this one. Nope, there's still this remaining. So the best really would be to create, to use 3 lines. Okay, so we do this, and do this. So again, notice that we already have 3 lines here, meaning that this solution or this table is now optimal, or to be more specific, this table is now minimized. Now that we've reached the minimum number, we start performing the assignments. So how do we do that? So we go here. So let's choose a different color, blue. So let's go top to bottom. Okay, for person A. Okay, by the way, okay, so your zeros would represent options. Okay, non-zeros don't represent option. Okay, so A here will be assigned to project 3 because that's the only option, right? And remember, in assignment method, it's 1-to-1, meaning one person can only get 1 project. It can be project 1, 2, or project 3. In this case, since zeros represent options or valid available options, A will now get 0. Project 3. Okay, that means that this option here for person C is not available anymore because project C cannot take project 3 because person A has already gotten it. Okay, so C is now left with nothing but project 1. So let's say he takes that. Okay, now this would be now project 1 is taken, so this project 1 is no longer an option for person B. Person B is now left with just project 2. So he will get project 2. And that's basically it. Now, once you've reached this step, you would now use this information to and then you refer to your first table and calculate the optimal cost. Okay. So we go to so let's just remember where our check marks are. Okay, here, here, and here. So we go back to our first table. So 9. Okay. Originally our values were 9, 10, and 6. So we basically add that. Optimum cost would be the optimum cost given the assignments are these, right? The check marks of each person would be, let's go back, 9, 10, and 6. So we just added 9 plus 10 plus 6. Then if we do the math, but you know what? I'm too lazy. So that's 25. Okay, so the optimal cost will be 25 for that assignment. However, we can actually try to see that what if, okay? Okay, let's just put here OC 9 plus 10 plus 6 is 25, right? Okay. Now, this is the optimal cost if the assignments were this, right? However, let's try to find other assignments and maybe there's a more like a minimal or a lesser answer. So yeah, for A, let's say he takes he has no other option other than project 3, so he takes this project. This will no longer be available. But then in this time, B will take 1, okay? He'll take 1, meaning this will no longer be available. And oh, okay, so here. So interesting. So here you can see that one person did not get a project. If I'm not mistaken, since assignment method should be 1-to-1, then this would not be the answer. However, if it's a table such as a 4x3, then this would be an acceptable answer. So I think the answer would now be just 25. So that's basically it on how to do the assignment method, and I hope you guys learned something. And yeah, please correct me if I'm wrong, but those were basically the steps. So just to run through. So again, first we do the row by row subtracting, getting the smallest, and then we do by column, get the smallest and subtract to all the other numbers. After we did those first two steps, we create our lines. We look for the smallest, subtract it to all your other untouched values, and the number at the intersecting point would be added instead of subtracted. Then after that, we just repeat until we have the minimum number of lines such that it would now be an optimal solution or table. Then we perform our assignments. Now, after we perform our assignments, we just refer to the first table and then add it all. So 9, 10, and 6. So remember, in assignment method, it should be 1-to-1, meaning a person should always or should get one project only. Okay? So that's basically it. Thank you for listening, and I hope you guys learned something. All right.